Good late afternoon from Bali, everyone. It's Anifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I would like to talk about focusing on what matters, which is the title of this video. And part of the reason that I'm focusing on this, because it matters, is mostly because most of you know that I work with grief recovery when I'm in Canada, and I certainly focus on life and death experiences and emotions and reasons for self-satisfaction in terms of what is our purpose, what matters, that these things, I believe that many people in our collective consciousness are thinking of this right now, yet there's a lot of people who don't have time to, who would choose not to, who don't even know that there is a deeper way to think and don't really have the energy for it. And so I know that here right now there is actually a neighbor who has passed away recently, and it's a person that I've had the opportunity and blessing to meet with, interact with, and share presence with. Now remember, I came to Bali to actually work and help other people discover how they could connect with nature and each other and really connect, where we actually care about each other. And that was my intention. And as it turned out, many of you know that I'm not working. I'm not even legally able to work in Bali. Yet my work continues. It's so interesting that the journey, that this spiritual journey that I feel that I'm on, is continuing because I'm here for some reason. I know this. And it's interesting that over time it becomes more and more clear as to what my role is, no matter where I am. So whether it's in Bali, whether it's when I go back to Canada, I'm here now, and I do what I do here now, which is not working for money. But I will say I connect with people, and you would think, many of you know that I don't speak full Indonesian, so whether it's Bahasa or if I was going to Lombok, it's again Indonesian. I do not speak fully. I know some words, and yes, maybe my vocabulary is increasing, yet I do connect with people, and I love feeling people's energies from a deeper space and knowing what they're carrying in their hearts, because I feel it in every age now in terms of people that I meet. So whether it's children or the elderly, in my practice I certainly worked with people who were going through not such easy times in terms of chronic illnesses, and as this person was going through something which was not so easy, as I've mentioned, he's passed away, and so it's very forefront in my mind, and this is the work that I do. And it's so, I feel like it's such a blessing for me to have met this family. This family I met from my homestay here, who introduced, and then again I just really felt drawn to connecting and just again being present with that family too, just as much as I am present with this family, and probably just as present as I was with the students that came from Guam and their instructors. So this presence is an energy that's growing within me. And I want to make sure that you know part of the reason that I feel so drawn into this sort of work, because I think we all need and can benefit from doing this. And as presence grows within ourselves, this space of truly caring about each other and truly just listening fully, attentively, perhaps we can prevent some of the things that I see, certainly with people closer to the end of their lives, whether it's an early life that's passing or whether it's a mature, very long life that's passing. I feel that, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to make sure that you know that I feel very confident about this, that today I feel that I can feel soul energy. And it's not just today, it was in Ontario. I've worked with clients while I was a naturopathic doctor, also feeling the same energies. And yet we would say a soul energy sounds kind of out there, airy-fairy. It's not the stuff that I pay attention to. If we talk about the word consciousness, it's the same as soul energy. So just so you know, from that scientific perspective, we can talk about just the word consciousness. I want to talk about in terms of alchemy and how we can transform what is into something different. First, we have to understand what we're working with. So I've been spending some time reflecting on what's coming up in terms of a collective energy. And part of this is because I'm feeling it around me at this time. So I wanted to share it with you, and I want you to know that this is a consistent theme that I'm noticing both in Canada, in the world, because I do meet people here, not necessarily this homestay, but all over Indonesia, that I've met people from Italy, I've met people from France, I've met people from Canada and the States, I've met people from around the world, from Africa. All of these people are carrying something similar, and this is what this mind is allowing itself to reflect on, which then allows my own wisdom to flow through too. And today I would like to share this wisdom about focusing on what matters most. So what's mattering most that I see after that long introduction is this. I wanted to start with this quotation, which some of you may have heard before. It says, over time, people regret what they didn't do more than what they did do. Regrets of inaction are far more common than regrets of action. Regrets of inaction are far more common than regrets of action. Now, regrets in general are not easy energies themselves. Now, when someone has a regret, if they are able to look at it and focus on it and say, this is what I can do. I regret that I did this at this time, but this is how I can make it better. I can either apologize to a person, I can make sure I don't do that again, I can change the way I behave now. So anything, or the way I think now, the way I speak now, all of that, that's regrets. And it gives us a moment to, when we're actually reflecting on this is what I regret, to actually focus on this is what I can do to change. If we do not take that window of opportunity, what often happens is people fall into heavier energies of remorse and guilt. And once people are into those heavier energies, and again, regret is not an easy energy, it's not a light energy either. Yet, because there's something that we can work with to change it. I shouldn't have said that, but I can say this. I shouldn't have done that, but I will do this. It gives us a window of opportunity to work from. Now, a lot of people do not take that window of opportunity because we become, and I'll just say this is not a good excuse or reason, but I will say that that seems to be the justified reason that many people might not go there, is people feel busy and rushed and hurried and are tired and not so energized and feel all of those energies. So even if they've done something that's not so good, that they themselves feel is not so good, not because someone told them, they themselves are feeling is not so good in any aspect of their lives, they might not take the time to do something about it. And today I want you to know that this is the energy that I feel collectively comes through again and again. This is not new. This is information that's been known for quite a bit of time from so many different areas. So whether we think, again, psychotherapists, psychology, we look at philosophers have talked about it, poets have written about it, the Vedic tradition has talked about it, and I suspect that every religious, spiritual tradition does talk about it when we go deep enough to understand, but who's got the time to go deep enough? Some of us do, and it's a wonderful experience to see that all of this is very similar. I wanted to bring to your attention something that I have brought up in past videos and some time ago, but it's this book by David R. Hawkins called Power versus Force, and he mentions that regret, particularly at the lower levels of consciousness, is associated with a force-based emotions like grief, fear, and guilt, which are below 200 on this consciousness scale. Living at these levels can lead to a sense of constant remorse and regret about missed opportunities or past actions. Missed opportunities or past actions. Now you can imagine, if you haven't read this book, I would strongly encourage that you do. No, I've got no shares in it, but I have to say it's a fantastic book. This level 200, you will understand if you do read the book. Level 200 in this grading scale that this author and healer actually worked with was definitely the level that courage starts. So a person needs a level of 200. I think his total scale is up to 1,000. Needs a level of 200 to have courage to do something. So imagine if someone has regret, but they're not feeling confident to speak. That could be a child to a parent to a child. It could be a spouse to a spouse. It could be an employee to an employer, or it could be an employer to an employee. All of these, it could be a person just to a stranger on the street that there's not a confidence to speak in a particular situation, maybe something that needs to be said. We can imagine there's a regret, there's not a confidence, there's not the courage to get to, I've got to say something. And so this remains in that lower level of low vibration consciousness. And this is what a lot of people do, and we again will often give ourselves excuses for doing this because time is often used as the excuse. Other things, I don't have time to see that person, or I don't really want to talk to that person because I shouldn't have said that and I'll just avoid. So avoidance has become a big choice. And this is something that we can consciously pay attention to, is what is this doing for us? Because as I am around people, and you are too, that are never sure, we're never sure when our last day will be. So if our last day is tomorrow, I can tell you, I've definitely heard a lot of people who in their final days talk about their regrets. And final days could be a month, it could be weeks, it could be years, but in those final days before passing, and I will say that the closer it gets to a passing time, the more expressive the soul becomes. And I thought I'd share this quotation. It says, regret is the only wound the soul does not recover from. Regret is the only wound the soul does not recover from. And it's interesting because, again, this regretting about things that have not been done are more common. I see this. So things that are not done. Now, if a person really has a real passion for exploring the world, or does a lot of comparison of everyone else gets to see the world and I haven't been anywhere, that will be a regret. But I can tell you that from who I've spoken with, and I've spoken with many people that are close to this time, and sometimes actually speaking and sometimes just listening, and I hear what words are saying and what souls are speaking to. And oftentimes it's about the things that were so within reach. They had time to do something different, to say something different, to act in a different way, and they didn't. And this is a regret, as this quotation says, that souls do not recover from. And I actually feel that that energy is what then feeds the collective unconscious. That collective unconscious, of course, is the same as shadow work and Jung's work, and all of this idea of recognizing that we have an opportunity to work on these things. If we don't recognize what's within ourselves, we are leaking this energy in our living lives, and near the end of life, this is the energy that comes to mind the most easily. And so today I would really encourage that all of us really focus on the truth and the fact that when we realize that we don't have much time, we really do start thinking of this. But for example, the person that I am talking about in this environment who has recently passed away had a stroke and could not speak. And who thinks that something would happen? I'll be able to say this at another time, or there'll be a better time to say this, or do this, or be this, or whatever. It happens. And of course we hear about people who have sudden tragic deaths. We hear about people, maybe you know people, who have the ability to speak but not the courage. And so again, in those dying times, if you want to know what people are thinking about, I'm sharing with you right now that very often it's about these regrets. Today, I would love for you to think about if there's something that you regret, that you know that you consciously, you're aware of it, and you'll deal with it at some time. Don't put it off. There is no time like tomorrow. Today is every day. Today is now. This is the moment. If you need to write something out, if you need to forgive yourself, whatever it is, don't regret something when we don't know how life goes. It's interesting, I came across this quotation to finish with, and it's by Albus Dumbledore, and I don't know if you know that name, but it's from the Harry Potter series, and he's a wizard. And I just thought it was such a perfect quotation to end this video with, so I thought I'd share it with you. It says, regret is my constant companion. Do not let it become yours. And if I can tell you a feeling, a message that I get from many souls, it's that expression. And that expression from the soul might be to a family Might be to a friend, might be to the practitioner they're speaking with. It could be to just the world at large, but this is soul communication, and I will say my soul is hearing it. I hope that your soul hears it from this video today, or at least hears my words, and literally spends even 5 minutes after this video to think about something that you know is that gnawing regret at the back of the mind that you'll get to sometime. Do something to pull away from one piece of regret, so that you can actually look back and say, wow, you know what? I had the courage to do that. I wish you courage today to get through any thoughts that might be playing in your mind, consciously or unconscious. I hope that we are collectively making the unconscious conscious. And you can see from this video, regret is one of those unconscious shadow energies. Let's bring it forward and deal with it. I wish you a fabulous day or night ahead, and I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day or night, everyone.